Week 2 of the NFL season has come and gone, and oh my, there's so much to talk about already. Today, on Chenzo's Corner, with your host Charlie DiVincenzo, we're going to get into Super Bowl contenders, pretenders, teams that had high expectations coming into this season that, I don't think are going to live up to those lofty expectations that they had. I want to talk about MVP candidates, and I want to talk about this guy right here, Baker Mayfield. So a little video today. Going to be a quick one. Starting with those Super Bowl contenders here. I think I got 6 teams on that list right now. I got the Ravens. I got the Bills. I have the Eagles. Those are the easy ones, in my opinion. Those guys are always, with those quarterbacks and those teams around them are always going to be contenders as long, as they stay healthy. Now, these other 3 teams I have on this list could be a little bit surprising to some. I have the Buccaneers, I have the Chargers, and I have the Packers. Now, I'm going to deep dive into each 3 of these teams and, kind of explain why I have them as high as I do. Starting with the Chargers. Justin Herbert has looked fantastic to start this season. He really looks like a defined product. He looks like he's kind of ready to take the next step into winning. We know the stats were there. The win-loss column really wasn't. So I think that team's really ready to blossom. They got Omarion Hampton that they drafted in the first round. Now, he hasn't really done much yet, but I think with time, he'll kind of come along. They signed Najee Harris to kind of make that a 1-2 punch. They got Joe Alt at tackle, I think one of the best tackles in the league right now. They signed back Keenan Allen. You already have Ladd McConkey. You have Quentin Johnson, who now looks really good. I'm recording this the day after that night game where Quentin Johnson caught a 60-yard touchdown. He looks really good to start this season. And he looks like what they wanted when they drafted him in the first round as high as they did. The defense is solid. That hardball defense, always going to be good. He's going to define the run game. He's going to define the defense as the focal point to that team. Excuse me. Packers. Next up. It's Micah Parsons. It's Micah frickin' Parsons. That guy, I don't think we really understood how much of not only a game changer, but a team changer. That guy changes the complexity of your team. We saw Green Bay's defense struggle at times last year. They look like no one's getting past them. And I think it has a lot to do with the morale. You get a guy like Micah Parsons. That's the GM in the ownership of that team showing the players that they believe they can make a run. And I believe that does a lot for those guys. It puts it in their head that they can win. That they're made to win and ready to win. And Micah Parsons has completely changed that just team in general. Totally changed them. Their offense looks good enough. The receivers look a little bit better. You draft Matthew Golden in the first round. That's nice. It's a nice grab. He hasn't really done much yet. I'm sure he'll kind of blossom into that role. Now, you lose Jaden Reed for the first 2 months of this season with that shoulder injury, but once he comes back, this team really, they have it all. They really do. And they have the coaching, which is probably most important there. Matt LaFleur, one of the best coaches in this league. Now, third team on that list, I have the Buccaneers. This guy right here, Baker Mayfield. They just win. This 5 straight seasons now that they've started 2-0. I believe it's also 5 straight years of winning the NFC East, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 4 or 5. Might be 4. But they don't look like they're going to give up that crown anytime soon. The Falcons might make a run. I like the Falcons a lot this year. They might make a run at them, but I still think they're quite a few games behind. The Bucs draft Emeka Egbuka in the first round to a lot of criticism. The Bucs had Mike Evans. They had Chris Godwin. They had talent there. And they go out, they draft a kid from Ohio State. Looking to be good so far. Looking to be pretty good so far. 3 touchdowns through his first 6 quarters. Good deal. He looks like just about every single Ohio State wide receiver in the NFL. And another weapon for Baker to throw the ball to. I mean, this guy has consistently, we really got to stop the narrative, the underdog narrative with Baker, because I think that's diminishing what he's doing. Let me know what you guys think about that. Because the problem in Cleveland wasn't Baker. It was Cleveland. You're telling me he lost that locker room? That locker room lost him. It's unbelievable to me how a team like that, after he takes you to the playoffs, after he wins a playoff game for you, after he plays through a torn labrum for the whole entire season, how you walk away from that and then try to say that you want a more mature quarterback to go get Deshaun Watson? That was one of the biggest blunders, I think, in the last 20 years in the NFL. They had their franchise guy. They were just too stupid to see it. And you know what? He went to Carolina in probably one of the worst situations you could ever step into. Steve Wilkes, Matt Rule, the head coaches there, just abysmal. It was him and Sam Darnold, two guys that are now starting in this league. They had Baker playing D-line in practice in Carolina. And that disrespects what fuels this underdog story, but it should have never been an underdog story. He was the number one pick for a reason. He was an underdog when he walked on to Oklahoma in 2014. Had to sit out a year. Was living in the dorms, playing intramural sports. That's the underdog story. When you get picked number one in the NFL draft, that should go out the window. This guy has consistently been a top 10 quarterback in this league when he's healthy. And I argue this year, he vaults into that top 5 conversation. The sheer volume of what he throws at. I mean, the last 2 years in Tampa Bay, 71 touchdowns, leads the NFL, and almost 9,000 passing yards, which I believe is second. Come on, man. It was never a Baker problem. It was never a Baker problem. And that's a guy I think could go out and win the MVP this season. And I was going to get into that later in the video, but, why not just do it now? He's going to give you another 4,500 yards with ease this year. He's going to give you another 35 to 40 touchdowns. If he limits the interceptions, I see no reason why he can't go out and win that award. If he leads his team 10, 11, 12 wins, winning team, MVP stats, why not? Why not? It was never a Baker problem. It was never a Baker problem. You saw that when he signed to the Rams. He had 2 days to prepare for that game. Had 2 days to prepare for that Thursday night football game when he got signed to the Rams back, 3 years ago now? 2 days to prepare. He went out there, put everything on the table, led a 97-yard touchdown drive with no timeouts, with under a minute on the clock. That's a dog, man. That's a guy that loves the sport. That's a guy that loves the sport. And for Cleveland to say that they wanted a more mature quarterback, I'll harp on this for a minute. To go out and then sign Deshaun Watson, who was facing nearly 20 sexual assault allegations at that point, to me it's disgusting. Because here's a guy who gives his heart and soul to the city of Cleveland, plays through one of the worst injuries, according to him, he's ever gone through. Now, should he have sat out that year? Rehabbed, got a little better, could have been better the next season? Yeah, maybe he should have. And he'll be the first to tell you that. But you know what? How do you get rid of a guy after he goes out there with his shoulder half off the bone and you rag on him for it? Still gave you 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns. Sure, the interceptions were a bit high, but man, oh man. Any other quarterback is getting absolutely serenaded with love after that. This guy, all he got was hate. And maybe it's because people thought he was cocky. Maybe it's because he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he plays his best with this chip on his shoulder. Some teams can't handle that, and the Browns couldn't, and the Bucs are very happy that they took that gamble on Baker. They gave him that 1-year contract. He balled out, and you know what? He got paid for it. And I couldn't be happier for him. So that's number 1 on my MVP list right now. And he's not going anywhere, any lower on that list until proven otherwise. Moving on. I talked about some Super Bowl contenders. Now I want to talk about some Super Bowl pretenders. Teams that had very high expectations coming into the season, but I just don't think will reach, where the media wanted to put them. And that's the Chiefs, and that's Washington. 2 teams there. Short and sweet list. Chiefs, pretty self-explanatory after these first 2 weeks. 0-2, they look completely unmotivated. I'm talking specifically about you, Travis Kelce. He looks like he doesn't care. He really looks like he doesn't care. I don't know what happened. Maybe since now he's engaged to Taylor Swift, football don't matter to him anymore. And, I couldn't blame him. Quite frankly, I couldn't blame him. But that guy, he looks unmotivated. He dropped that pass into the interception to essentially lose that game for him last week. And as Makuba was running down the sidelines, Kelce kind of just threw his hands up and started walking to the sideline. I don't know. To me, that looks like a guy with poor body language that doesn't really care. Now, Mahomes, you got to almost feel bad for. This guy consistently, year in, year out, does everything he can. He has nobody. He has absolutely nobody. Hollywood Brown's his number 1 receiver. That would have been good 6 years ago when he was on Oklahoma. Pre-foot injury. I mean, he's serviceable, but he's not a wide receiver 1. Come on. Now, Xavier Worthy's out. Rashee Rice is suspended. Those guys will come back, and that'll be big boost to that offense. But I really don't envision the Chiefs. I can see them going to the playoffs. But I think they might finish 3rd in that division. And people call me crazy for it. I think the Chargers are going to finish ahead of them. And I think the Broncos might finish ahead of them. That's my bold take. It's my bold take for the year. Record-wise, Baker winning MVP is my number 1. That's my hot take right now. But record-wise, I do believe that the Chiefs might finish 3rd in that division. I just don't think they have it. Now, does this mean the dynasty's over? Absolutely not. That's another video for another time. As long as Patrick Mahomes is there, you have a chance. And this team might go to the playoffs. And with Mahomes, who knows what happens when they get there. But I just don't think they're where they want to be as a unit. Washington. That's the other team. Another team with very high expectations. Went out and signed Von Miller. Re-signed Bobby Wagner. Re-signed Zach Ertz. Now, we are in the year 2025, not 2016, so that retirement home I don't think is really going to get you very far. I was big last year on the Washington fluke train. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm a Bears fan. They got the Hail Mary on us. But I think a lot of what was happening last year was pretty fluky. It was pretty fluky. And this season, the media wanted to prop them into Super Bowl contention. And Jaden Daniels is a great quarterback. And the media, every time you see his name, will make you really believe he's a great quarterback. But I don't think he's a guy that could lead a team to a Super Bowl. Call me crazy. He went to the NFC title. They got blown out of the water. I don't think they'll ever get as close to a Super Bowl as they did last year. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. I don't see it happening. I don't envision it. Terry McLaurin got his money. Seems like he checked out a little bit. His connection with Daniels has been off. Obviously, they haven't had very much time in the offseason to prepare together, but they just don't look like they did last year offensively. And now Daniels came out last night that he's a little banged up, might miss this week. Marcus Mariota may step in to play Vegas. I think. Anyway, I think Washington will be a playoff team. I think they'll get there, but I just don't think they go very far once they do get there. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. I kind of want to round back into that MVP conversation I was having a minute ago. I talked about Baker. I want to talk about two other guys right now. I want to talk about Justin Herbert, who, another guy is always going to have the stats. That'll never go away. Another guy, just like Baker, if his team wins, why not? This is a guy that can really get you 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. He'll limit the interceptions. He might even run for some yards. And you know what? It's another guy that he gets the respect he deserves to a point, but he really needs to win. If he could win, if he could take this team to the next level and win 12 or 13 games, he has the team around him to do it. If they can win 12 or 13 games, that's another guy that I could see very high up in that MVP conversation. And the third guy I want to talk about might be controversial, might be some hate. I think it's Dak. All three of these guys, you see the theme, because their stats are always going to be there, and the volume at which they throw at, those teams throw at, is at such a higher clip than majority of teams in the league. Dak's going to average 45 attempts a game. Baker's going to average 45 attempts a game. Herbert might be a little bit lower because Harbaugh likes to run the ball. But the stats are going to be there. Dak has looked really good through 2 weeks. He looks like he's back in really good shape as well. He seems very athletic and mobile in the pocket. His footwork's been very nice in the 2 games I've seen him play. I think that's a guy that maybe is on the outside looking in, because I don't think Dallas is going to win as many games as some of the other quarterbacks like Baker, like Herbert, like Josh Allen, like Lamar. Obviously, those two are always going to be in the MVP mix. Prescott's not going to win as many games as them, so that might keep him out. But it's just a name to watch. So for bettors out there, go ahead. Throw a little $10 slip on Baker, on Herbert, on Dak. You might just get it to pay off. You never know. It's early. I'm thinking we do one of these every 2 or 3 weeks. A little recap. See where teams are. See who's leading the way in the MVP race. See who's playing good. See who's playing bad. I want to continue to do these videos. Thank you guys so much for the support in the last one. You kidding me? 500 views? I think we're at 25 comments? I couldn't imagine that. 3 videos in already with that type of community almost. I love it. So keep commenting. Make sure you subscribe. It means the world to me that you guys are even watching these videos. That's pretty much going to do it for today. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next one. Thank you for watching Chenzo's Corner. I'll see you.